cave here. Give you an idea what the area here looks like. And we've just snuck by that wall there. The water's still coming up even at low tide, so it doesn't take long for that thing to engulf, and then you're kind of stuck a bit. But right behind me here is the sea cave that I'm going to kind of climb into. This is one of them, one that's exposed so far. We'll have to check on the other one. But typically, for something like this, you've got to get way back up in here to take a shot. And as you can see, it's really tough to do. You've got to get really stupid low to get this thing done. You get way back up in here, and you find your spot, and then you're trying to get the light back out this way. So very difficult. I'm going to probably have to take my backpack off to make this thing work, but I'm going to crawl back up in here and figure out a way to do this. As you can see, it's not that easy to get yourself back up in here to do this. So I'm going to whip off my backpack right now, stick it on the side here. I can't see where I'm going here, but yeah, you can see how far I have to dip myself back in here. But I'm going to try to find a composition right through here and shoot all the way out there and show you how I set up the camera to do that. So we are ready. I've got my 16 to 35 millimeter on the camera right now, and got my composition set up. Basically, I'm going to be shooting bracketing 5. I've got it focused about a third of the way into the picture, and what I'm going to do is start very left. I'll show you here. Very right, I'm sorry. And we're going to start up here with 5 brackets up to about 4 stops. I'm going to be clicking that so that I can get some of the highlights on the walls of this thing. I want to be able to get as much detail as I possibly can. I want as much information as I possibly can on this thing, so that when I'm putting it together later and in an HDR program or blending, I'll be able to have a lot of information to run with, because there's a lot of color in these walls in here that you can see. Maybe you can see it. It's hard to say, but there's a lot of reds, there's a lot of mossy type reds and greens that'll come out, as you'll see on these different ones. So here's what we're getting out of this. Let me show you. We're shooting really high where we get the light, and then we're going to back it off as we go here, as you can see. So this time I'm going to shoot it and put it kind of back into the middle where you've got the stops both sides, left and right, and then I'm going to shoot again without moving the camera. And so I put the 2-second timer on there. I'm sitting at about 16 millimeters, so I've got this thing wide open as far as I possibly can. So now you can see it's going to start getting lighter or darker on us, and that's going to help me blend these later. As you'll see, I'm getting darker, but I'm not quite dark enough outside. So what I want to do is take advantage of shifting this thing all the way this time. Got some duplicates going, but I want now to be able to have the outside totally blue as it normally is your eyes would see, and that's what you're going to get. So let me show you here. You've got that, then you come there. You can see now that it's gotten really blue as I'm seeing it, and so I'll have a lot to work with to blend those a little bit later. So that'll all come together great. So I think we've got all the pictures that we need to create the look that we're after here. As you can see, a lot of information. So let's move on to the next sea cave, see if we can get in there. I know the tide now is probably shifting back our way, so I got to move quickly here, so let's get on our way. All right, we're going to work ourselves back out of here. Beautiful cave. You can see probably some of the green and the reds that are coming out on this on the walls of this thing. It's really a neat cave, but the problem with caves like this, they can cave in at any time. That would not be a fun thing. But we're back in the light here, so we're going to move down and see if we can get in to the other cave here. Never know quite if we can get across those rocks, but we're going to try. There's some caves back up over here that they have blocked off for some reason. Might have had some cave-ins over there, but definitely something I don't want to get into. Of course, it looks like people have tried to get into that thing over there. So I'm going to try to get across these rocks now, and typically they're very slippery, so I want to be real careful with those type of things. So let's see if there's any chance at all of getting across it. Well, we've kind of hit the end of the road here right now. The tide is coming back in to go into the secondary cave, and I don't want to take a chance of it. The moss around here is very, very slick, as you can see, and I'd just as soon not take that chance. So instead, I'm just going to shoot a few shots against I guess this would be the east, going east, and then wait for that sunset and try to grab some shots over on the other side over there, because apparently the tide is shifting on us and going very quickly the other way. So I'm going to try to get out of here while I can, because I'm kind of stuck right now with the water coming in pretty fast over this way. So I'm going to put everything away so that I can have all hands on deck, so to speak. So we'll catch up the beach there ways. All right, so we've pismo on to shooting the sunset. We've got a beautiful sunset going over over a mountain back behind me there. That's called Pismo Beach over that way. And what I'm attempting to do now is to get a star effect out of the star right now. It's going to go behind that mountain very quickly. I'm going to show you a technique that I used that I'm able to use the metering system in this thing. Now what I've done is I'm on 1635 on. I'm sitting at 35 millimeter right now. Got it focused on the rocks right before you there. I'm sitting at f22, and what I'm going to do is I'll show you. We're going to put the light meter. I got on live view, and I've got the square that you see here, which is telling me where the light is. I'm going to shoot right there, and what it's going to do is it's going to use that light for the metering. So that 22 is going to star out really nice, as you can see there. And so what I'll do next is instead of making any other setting changes, I'll just move this light meter down, and you'll see it now get lighter in the background there. So now I'm exposing for the middle ground there. And so it takes a little longer now because I'm exposing more light coming through. I have a 10 stop on right now on a polarizer. I'm trying to smooth out the ocean as much as I possibly can, and I've got it as far as I can reach on the 22 side. And so I'm going to keep moving this thing down. Now in the front, it's going to light up a lot more in the background, but the front's going to be lit too. So that's going to be a longer exposure since I have the 10 stop on the polarizer. So as soon as that comes through, you can be able to see that it's really, really bright back in there. So I'm trying to get some light on those rocks there. So that's one technique that you can use, and you can also change your exposure compensation, which I haven't done yet. So you can see some smoothing effect out there on the ocean now. Now as it gets darker and darker, that smoothing will even be more so. So now let's switch to 22 here. Let me get this back up to 22. There we go. Now I'll take another shot. I want to try to use up as much as I possibly can in the smoothing effect. And the waves out there are pretty crazy, but I'm able to smooth them out. And as soon as the sun crests the mountain over there is when I want to get real busy getting that shot. So we're going to wait a couple minutes for that to happen, and as soon as it does, we'll be able to get a star effect right off that mountain as the sun sets. So that'll be our next shot here. We now have the sun cresting over there on the mountain, so we're getting busy. We're going to shoot that so we can get some star effect right across the mountain there. So let's go ahead and get that going. So we're going to have this thing set up at first off right on the moon or the sun, right there. I'm going to place that right there, see what happens. I'm going to get some star effect there. And then we'll start there, and then we'll go ahead and move on through to the other shots, just using metering this time. So a little different idea. You can see it's star affected there. I want to keep this about in the middle. Now I'm going to keep that in the middle, and we're going to shoot again. And now that the sun is moving very quick, but I already got the star effect here, so I'm in good shape there. So I don't care what happens out there after this. My main concern now is going to be moving into the closer shot here on the foreground and the midground. So as soon as that comes through there, you'll see what we did there. So we're on the midground there, and it's all smoothed out in the middle. So I'm going to move this thing now all the way down, and it's going to grab the light that's right there at about 15 seconds. It's 16 we're shooting at now, f16. The sun is just about over the crest of that mountain, so we don't have any use of that anymore. So our concern right now is just to kind of grab the foreground here and get some light on it. There's a lot of moss on those rocks that is green, so I want to try to pull that out. So what I'll do now is go ahead and shoot this thing up higher. As you can see, I'm going to shoot up to 3 stops on the right and see if I can't pull any light at all out of the front there. We'll see what happens there. Our sun has left us, so we are at that point where we just try to get some light on the other side there. Now we don't have a lot of clouds off in the distance tonight, so we can't really take advantage of any light coming up and highlighting and all that kind of fun stuff that we get. Every day is different, so you just kind of, as many times as I've been here, sometimes I've had blazing red sunsets, and other times it's clear like this. Other times it's so gray it's not worth the trouble, but if you wait long enough, then you get the city light. So I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities to get what you want here. So we're able to get a little bit of light on the front there, and I've gone as far as I can without changing it. We're bouncing off the 30 seconds, so I'm pretty well shot there. So we're going to let it go one more time with 30 seconds since the water has come all the way up here. So we'll see what happens with that. How's it going, guys?
Have a nice evening.
You do the same. So we got the water that's coming up here and causing some reflection, so we might be able to get some of that and use it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. As always, we wish we would have had some more clouds this evening, but you shoot what you get, you know, and hope for the best. So here's where we returned out. You can see everything's kind of smoothed out there real nice. Now, as it gets a little later and gets a little bit darker here, you'll be able to see a lot more of that frosty, I don't know, kind of almost a foggy, misty look to it from these long exposures. I've still got the 10 stop on there. I've still got the polarizer, and that's when it's able to get that real long exposure. I'm going as far as I can for not going into bulb, and that is at 30 seconds. So. We're going to get our buns out of here. With the high tide coming now, we can get trapped over here at these rocks that you could see. So we're going to go ahead and you can see the water's coming up to the rocks there, and that's our way out. There is no other way out here. So unless you want to get soaking wet, you got to kind of time this and get around those rocks. So I'm going to stand a little closer over here and see what we can do to get around. At the time is just right. Now this cave that we were in earlier is right here. The water now is starting to move up inside that. We're going to try to slip through this right now while we can. It's kind of giving us a little clearing here, so we don't really want to get hit by that. As you can see behind me, it's going to start sneaking up behind me here. So I'm going to get up out of the way. Not that I don't mind getting wet, I just don't want to, because I'm going to be here a couple days and don't need soggy shoes for the next couple days unnecessarily. So we're just going to call it good now. We're getting a little bit of orange back there in the sky. I'm going to go over here to this rock you can see in front of us and just see if I can't get a nice little silhouette on that. I'm going to get on the other side and see if there's any chance of getting a shot of it. Here's the rock we're speaking of. Let's see. Yeah, I might be able to shoot right here. That might work. Let me give that a shot. kind of right. I want to get, there's some palm trees and a little gazebo up there that might be interesting to get in the picture. Let's go ahead and give that a shot. We are shooting now this big rock, and light is going down. I've still got a 10 stop on there. I'm giving that a shot just to kind of get the water out there to really be smooth, and get some interesting effects that way. We're going to slide this thing back to the middle here so that I can just kind of use the metering in the middle and see what effect that has. As you can see, I am all alone out here, and it's nice to have the beach to yourself. Oh, there's somebody coming. So we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to take a picture of this this big rock that we've got our target on here and see what we come up with. And then we're going to wait till this evening to see if we can't get any star shots, because the moon's out just a little bit tonight. That might affect the stars out, but we'll see what happens. It's always fun to find an object like this rock or something and just give it a try. But I think we've used up the light the best we can on this shot here. We're going to kind of move on from here.